Oh, Tashidele, everyone. I hope everyone doing well. Yeah, maybe for some people, maybe morning, some people maybe evening. So wherever you are, hope that you are in good spirit and everything is all right. So before we do the teaching, we take few moments together to do some mantra recitation. Specifically dedicating, as usual, for those who are in urgent needs of prayer supports, especially in your family members and friends, and those of people who requested prayers. So we dedicate for them. Yeah. So we we do the practice on the basis of proper refuge in Guru Buddha Dharma Sangha, then generating correct motivation of bodhicitta. Then we recite the mantras. Sangye Jodang Zoye Jonang La Jangju Bado Dane Jazunje Daje Jinzo Jebe Zonamje Dola Benje Sangye Drobarai Jo Sangye Jodang Zoye Jonang La Jangju Bado Dane Jazunje Daje Jinzo Jebe Zonamje Dola Benje Sangye Drobarai Jo Sangye Jodang Zoye Jonang La Jangju Bado Dane Jazunje Daje Jinzo Jebe Zonamje Dola Benje Sangye Drobarai Gange do zene zone dawa damje bambe jire dambe jene dende bang godam de lan cha zelo Tong ninje zondo jo be lama zeje zenjo ganje den de gun chana be mo tenzin ja zo la so wa de zo da ju jin je lo semje tamje de wa dan de we ju dan dem ra ju je semje tamje dunga dan dunga je ju dan da wa ju Semje damje dunga me ben de wa da mi da wa ju je semje damje ni re ja da ni dan da we da nyo la ne ba ra ju ro je semje damje de wa da de we ju dan dem ra ju je semje damje dunga da dunga je ju dan da wa ju Semje damje dunga me ben de wa da mi da wa ju je semje damje ni re ja da ni dan da we da nyo la ne ba ra ju ro je semje damje de wa da de we ju dan dem ra ju je semje damje dunga da dunga je ju dan da wa ju Semje damje dunga mebe dewa dami dawa juje semje damje nire chada nidan dawe danyo la ne barai gyuru je. Tabje doje chaje re doje, jenje mendo doje bejon ba, seje lombo tabo zebe gu, chaje jabo de la cha ze lo. Daya ta om muni muni ma muni yeso ha, daya ta om muni muni ma muni yeso ha, daya ta om muni muni ma muni yeso. Daya ta om muni muni ma muni yeso ha, daya ta om muni muni ma muni yeso ha, daya ta om muni muni ma muni yeso. Daya ta om muni muni ma muni yeso ha. Daya ta om gade gade para sam gade buddhi yeso ha. Daya ta om gade gade para sam gade buddhi yeso. Daya ta om gade gade para sam gade buddhi yeso ha. Daya ta om gade para sam gade buddhi yeso. Daya ta om gade para sam gade buddhi yeso ha. Daya ta om gade para sam gade buddhi yeso. Daya ta om gade para sam gade buddhi yeso ha. Daya ta om gade para sam gade buddhi yeso ha. Omo ahum benzar guru pema sede hum. Omo ahum benzar guru pema sede hum. Omo ahum benzar guru pema sede hum. Omo ahum benzar guru pema sede. Omo ahum benzar guru pema sede hum. Omo ahum benzar guru pema sede hum. Mingme zebe derjen jene ze deme jembe ombo jambe yang dubo male jumze sawe da kanje jembe zuje zonga ba lozan tabe shala zoan Mingme zewe terchen chere ze, teme jembe ombo jambe yang, dupo mali jumze zangwe da, ganji jembe zujen zonga ba, lozan tabe shabla zowa. Mingme zewe terchen chere ze, teme jembe ombo jambe yang, dupo mali jumze zangwe da, ganji jembe zujen zonga ba, lozan tabe shabla zowa. Mingme zewe terchen chere ze, teme jembe ombo jambe yang, dupo mali jumze zangwe da, ganji jembe zujen zonga ba, lozan tabe shabla zowa de. Mingme zewe terchen chere ze, teme jembe ombo jambe. Dupo mali jumze zangwe da, ganji jembe zujen zonga ba, lozan tabe shabla zowa de. Mingme zewe terchen chere ze, teme jembe ombo jambe yang, dupo mali jumze zangwe da, ganji jembe zujen zonga ba, lozan tabe shabla zowa de. Om mani padme hum, om mani padme hum, om mani padme hum, om mani padme hum. Om mani padme hum, 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 om mani padme hum. Om mani padme hum, om dare du re zo ha, om dare du re zo. Om dare du re zo ha, om dare du re zo ha, om dare du re zo. Om dare du re zo ha, om dare du re zo. Om dare du re zo ha. Tayada om be ganze maha be ganze raja samo gade zo ha. Tayada om be ganze maha be ganze raja samo gade zo. Tayada om be ganze maha be ganze raja samo gade zo. Tayada om be ganze maha be ganze raja samo gade zo. Tayada om be ganze ma be ganze raja samo gade zo. Tayada om be ganze ma be ganze raja samo gade zo. Tayada om be ganze ma be ganze raja samo gade zo ha. Tayada om be ganze ma be ganze raja samo gade zo ha. Om mare zema zoha, om mare zemam zoha, om mare zema zoha, om mare zema zoha, om mare zemam zoha. Om mare zemam zoha, om mare zemam zoha, om mare zemam zoha, om mare zema zoha. Daje jawa tamje dan kebra yela sambe de dinye geme se jundu dhubala me jinye. Daja jungwe jeze ru du ju me ju yang sa so, sim de sim me le ju we ji ba gwe le nyu du jab du so, je wa di e nyu du da yi. Na wo se jama du ju ne, do wa je jama le ba, de ye sa la gwe ba ra yo. Pama zemje damje den dan den gyur je ngen do damje da do don wa dan chan ju sem ba gan na su ju ba de da gun je mo lan du ju je zemje ne ba je ne ba nyu do ne le ta ju je de we ne ne ma le ba da do ju wa me ba ju jambe ba we je tra je ba dan gun do sam bo de ya de shin je de da gun je je so da lo je ja wa de da dam je rab do ngo de so je be ja wa dam je de ngo wa gan lo ju do nga ba de da je je be za wa de gun je Sambo jeje rado ngo warai je bedan zo wa mi ge be yi je no bo ba zam je sem je ra wa gun ze be samba je jin de be zai je yo. Okay, thank you. Oh yeah, so now yes, we are still studying the text, the mind training teaching stages of the heroic mind, attribute to Serlingpa. And if those of you are using the great collection of Lojong treatise, then we are on page 189. And So we are not quite sure where we stop on last session because of some internet difficulty. So in any way, I will start today from verse 69. So the verse 69 is specifically focusing on overcoming the eight worldly concerns. So today I will try not to sidetrack much. The following, the teachings are very straightforward. So first I will just cover um, the two verses that are intended on last session, verse 69 and verse 70. So he says like this: when thoughts of goal seeking arise, strive to pass through numerous hazards. When feeling of revulsion arise, stuck pause and blood. Be not boisterous, but relinquish grasping at self. Take not blessing from the gods, but give alms to the ghost. So basically, whenever the ego, pride, which is very harmful, for spiritual growth, in particularly to to the practice of altruistic dharma, then also in our ordinary life, ego-centered, boastful minds are uh, mm, mm, uh, very harmful. Very harmful. Then the competitive, um, the very worldly way of competitive mind, which are also, which are very harmful. Um, mm, uh, for the in the practice of spiritual path, all the worldly concerns regard as no essence. There's no essence in it. Mm. Even though it has a certain benefit to the comfort of this very life, but uh, but that regarded, it is a very short-sighted. Um, you know, uh, ultimately, it is still in the nature of samsara. So therefore, whenever there's a sense of worldly competitive mind arises, then one should think of the hazards to subdue that. Then then also, due to the due to the self-centered attitude, and due to the false I, the false identity, in order that we have the divisive perspective of liking, disliking, pure, impure, positive, negative, and ultimately all these differences are very much arising of our mind, arising of our concept. You know, um, if ultimately, if we go to investigate from the object side, uh, the existence of pure and impure, right and wrong, from the object side, it is absolutely in the nature of empty. There's no inherent bad and good, right and wrong, pure and impure arises from the object side. There's no intrinsic nature in the objects. It's very much very much due to the impure perception. Therefore, we perceive impurity. Due to the impure perception, impure, confused conceptual mind, that we see confusions, we see impurities. So so one of the spiritual practice is to purify our impure perception. uh, you know, to really to tease our misconceptual mind. Really to tease out the wisdom, within the our concept, to able to to able to see the complete void of intrinsic impurity from the from both from the subject and the object, in relation to anything, including to this very the contaminated samsaric body, including those impure substance like a blood, etc. You see, so so in order to really to kind of fight back, fight back with this concrete fixation of impurity, then in order to subdue that, that false perception, then if even so therefore then when the feeling of revulsion arises, uh, then even to really to fight back this impure perception, then it says here suck pus and bloods, so of course in the tantric practice, through on the basis of stable foundations of emptiness wisdom, then literally using impure substance, uh, like such as for the substance for the five nectars, substance for the five meat, when we do like talk offerings, when we talk about the nectar offering, so in tantric practice, um, it is a very very profound and very drastic way to really to fight back our impure mind, our impure mind. And that's the whole thing about what really means by tantra means uh, you know mm, uh, tantra means purifying the impure mind, tantra mantra, meaning to overcome the impure perception, so tantra mantra is what it means is the antidote to overcome the impure mind, you see. So once you purify the impure mind, then the substance doesn't matter, uh, what kind of label it has given, that you can experience the bliss of nectar, even in the impure substance, like a five meats, like meat, like meats of dog, meats of human, etc. Those of you familiar with this tantric practices, then you know what are the five substance of the nectar, you see. So you can relate this particular line to that. So as far as concerned, in the common part of Sutrayana, then there's no such kind of uh, so extend practice like how we practice in Tantra, but still, through the practice of wisdom of emptiness, try to try to purify our impure perception, our conceptual mind, and try to see the absolute truth. So this is about that. Then take not blessing from the gods, but give arm to the oh sorry, he said be not a posture but relinquish grasping itself. Uh, so again, the main point is one must let go the ego um, um, centered ambitions and ego-centered graspings. You see, even in the even in the positive experiences, that ego uh, mm, should be relinquished. You see, so whether in the positive experiences or negative experiences, the focus should be eliminating or relinquishing the grasping itself. Again, as mentioned before, about purifying the impure substances into pure. uh, whatever, whether whether it is a negative substance or pure substance, whatever label has given, positive experiences or negative experiences, the focus has to be about purifying the mistaken perception, which is the self-grasping itself. It's not about in reality, there's nothing about externally to be avoided when it comes to the really fundamental practice. There's no externally to be avoid or purified, as long as your mind is purified. As long as your self-grasping is purified. So therefore, the point here is whatever form of practice that we do, the target has to be overcoming the self-grasping itself. Nothing very much more than that. So then take not blessing from the gods, but give alms to the gods. So as an altruistic practice, you are in the service of a sentient being. So even if we have a choice, or if we need to choose, requesting blessing for yourself, or offer service practice like charity to others, then we should choose to offer service to others, including to the spirits. Making charity or benefiting the vulnerable beings like a ghost is more important than asking blessing for self. So again, this is just different skillful means to really to challenge this this very concrete mountain like self-cherishing and self-grasping ego. Self-cherishing and self-grasping ego, you see. So you need to have so many different ways, and all the time targeting the self-grasping itself, how to bring down the false, the build up uh, the concrete eye, the false eye, and it is empire. In order to in order to demolish that, then all these different methods, you can apply accordingly and timely, whenever it's suitable. So it's something like that. So verse 70, entrust your faith in the mighty one, settle not your mind on the diviners and shamans. Place not your hopes in the wrathful incarnations, but make yourself the substance and scapegoat of exorcism. So here talking about the importance of reliance on the Buddha, reliance on the object of refuge, those who are already achieve the perfected path, those who are achieve the state that they are not under the control of delusion, under the control of karma, and there's no false back, like such as Buddha, such as the Arya Bodhisattvas, you see. So it's talking about the refuge, and not to rely as a genuine spiritual seeker like ourselves, our day-to-day decisions, decision makings, our day-to-day directions, we should rely on Buddha's advice, which are the Buddha's teaching. In a simple way, we should direct our day-to-day according with the Lamrim, according with the Lojong, according with the three principal aspects of the path, like that, according with the Buddha Dharma, not in accordance with the divination and the predictions of shamanists. So in another word, not to depend on the astrologies and divinations and the shamanic kind of rituals, you see. So, so like ourselves, we don't really, rely on shamanists, um, and we don't rely on the worldly kind of rituals, but we do perform pujas. We do seek divinations, from our gurus, etc. Mm, uh, so you see, so here I think we need to have a fine line to differentiate what are the right divinations and what are the right rituals that that which don't against our real spiritual practice, and those divinations uh, and rituals that which may against which will against our practice of refuge. So these are the few things that need to have a clear distinction. So so you see, so therefore, whenever when we relate to our pujas, there's always the pujas are initiated and led, start with the proper refuge, then the cultivation of bodhicitta, then cultivation of emptiness wisdom. So most of the pujas, you see, um, there's a prayers of Om Sobhava Shuddha Sarvadhamma Sobhava Shuddha Ham, so those are the area that where must meditate on emptiness, or the puja should be performed on the basis of wisdom of emptiness. Then before that, like four immeasurable prayers are directly emphasizing about the importance of altruistic bodhicitta attitude. Then refuge and bodhicitta, just that four line make very clear the practice of the puja has to be led by the practice of refuge and bodhicitta, refuge in Buddha Dharma Sangha, and the purpose of conducting the practice is beyond this very life's concern. It has to be in the concern of the well-being of numberless sentient beings, and that is none other than the full enlightenment. You see, so that will make the rituals become very powerful resources and conditions for the growth of our spiritual practice. Not an obstacle. But there's any kind of ritual that there's no practice of refuge and bodhicitta and emptiness, then we have to think twice whether the practice, falls in the real path of the Dharma or not. So there are many burn practices, which are called the shamanist practices. Outwardly, those rituals looks very similar to our usual pujas. So so therefore, uh, we have to be careful when we request pujas and prayers, from whom we are requesting, who are the one that who are performing the pujas and prayers. uh, you know we cannot kind of jump into wherever there's a ringing of bell and damaru and music and chanting, not necessarily can be the real spiritual, practice, you see. And also the earlier spiritual tradition, like even especially the Buddhist spiritual tradition came from India. Before Buddha came, there are like Hindu practices, and most of the ritual ritual items, ritual substance, um, and also there are many wordings, very similar to Buddhist rituals, Buddhist pujas, you see. But to differentiate, which is the recommended practice from Buddhist practice or not, clearly from uh, the practice of refuge, practice of bodhicitta, and the practice of emptiness. So the other rituals will not will not have these three elements. So therefore, and also from practitioner side, our whether we are requesting pujas and prayers, or whether, yeah, even from the people who are requesting, our intention, the real spiritual practitioners' intention when we request pujas and prayers, shouldn't be only for the focus of this very lifetime's benefit, like such as just for good health, just for prosperity, long life, overcoming sicknesses, etc. Because that again falls in the worldly concern. It is not helpful. You see, there may be some virtues, but as far as concerned with the real spiritual practitioner's life, this can be obstacle. Even though it's just a virtue, it can be helpful to overcome the health, but it may still be cloud to our genuine, spiritual practice to liberation. So you see, so our motivation has to be, again, initiated by Papa Refuge, next lifetime onwards concern. Then for that, for the success of next lifetime's spiritual sustainability, then this very life, when we have this precious human rebirth, then we need to have a good health, long life, prosperity, etc. So you see, so for the benefit of numberless sentient beings' well-being, for the benefit of the spiritual, sustainable spiritual practice. Therefore, then I need good health. Therefore, I do this puja. I did this, I dedicate this puja for good health, long life, etc. So so there are a few things that has to be very clear. Otherwise, in the name of such a profound, ritual practices, we may committing a lot of worldly dharma, and worldly dharmas are obstruction to the real spiritual growth. So something like that. Then, as far as concerned with the divination, you see, when someone that 100% rely on the directions of Buddha's teaching, then divinations are not necessary. You see, 100%, you do the action in accordance with your pure intentions of bodhicitta, complete in accordance with the following the karmic law, cause and effect. Then you see, whether it's a minor act or whether it's a great act, without doubt, definitely going to be beneficial. So there's nothing need to check kind of external divination whether my actions is right or not, beneficial or not, isn't it? Then, as far as concerned with do the divination for predicting future, there's nothing to predict future based on the divination. When you, if you are genuine follower of Buddha's teaching, then we follow karmic law, cause and effect. Everything is about karma, isn't it? Everything is interdependent arising in relation to its causes and condition. So Buddha have very clearly stated and logically and with the factual reasoning that we can understand, when we perform good, the result will be good. When we perform bad, when we perform negative actions, the result will be suffering. The result will be no good. You see, so therefore, what kind of future that we're going to experience is very much depend on your presence motivation and your presence actions of body, speech, and mind. So that is the clear direction. You see, so there's nothing more closing your eye or throwing the dice and checking the astrology to find it out. What kind of future that you will have. You see, and so we really can design and define what kind of future that we're going to experience. So the true spiritual follower, we don't really need to depend on some kind of like divinations, you see. But then the but those of the masters, who do divination, they don't invoke worldly gods, spirits, So here again, one thing that have to differentiate is that the divination here mentioned is the divination in the worldly world that people do conduct, which using spirits. uh, there's a lot in the world, that use spirits, control the spirit, and the spirit who may have some kind of knowing of certain future, then let the spirit to commit something to the spirit, such as like making Dharma offering, certain pledges, and to ask prediction. So if such thing, as a Buddhist practitioner is not allowed to do that, it against the practice of refuge. You see, so therefore, um, yeah, so like that. So the Buddhist, masters who perform divinations, they invoke the deities who are object of refuge, who are already object, who minimum, reside in the Arya being, like Pandel Lamo. Pandel Lamo, there are a lot of divination that are done on the basis of Pandel Lamo, protector, and Pandel Lamo is Arya Bodhisattva who reside in the 10 bhumis of the Bodhisattva. Then, like Manjushri's observation, Manjushri is, the Bodhisattva version is a 10 bhumi Bodhisattva. Then there's emanation of the enlightened one is the Buddha, Buddha of wisdom. Now you see, so like that. So here, say, settle not your mind on divination and shamanism. It should be understand that way. No, place not your hopes in the wrathful incarnations. So again, this is the wrathful incarnation is not talking about the wrathful deities and wrathful Arya protectors. It's not talking about that. It's talking about the mm, it's talking about uh, the worldly, spirits, worldly gods. They look scary, they look magical, and they are, they do have a certain magical power. So someone that who, who has a magical power, but whenever we relate to them, there's a certain kind of commitments, sacrifices that need to go through, and which are very much to do with the worldly concern. And again, that will against the fundamental refuge practice. So as a true Dharma practitioner, in particular here Lojong practitioner, and never to place your hopes in the wrathful incarnations, but make yourself the substance and scapegoat of exorcism. So always use your own self to define what is right, what is wrong, and define what kind of future one will experience or what kind of future one will not experience. As long as one's heart be free from the self-cherishing attitude and self-grasping ignorant. mhm, when this false eyes, we don't live in the egoic false views on this false eye, and don't, as long as our body, speech, and mind don't function under the control of this false eye, then uh, we will not create negative karma, and we will not experience the result of the negative karma. You see, we won't experience sufferings. You see. Um, but then, if we live with the egoic centered mind and self-cherishing attitude, then if we live under the influence of delusion, and our body, speech, and mind very much function in accordance with the demand of delusion, demand of self-centered ego, then uh, you know even our conceptual mind may feel good, but it is still negative. It's just a matter of time. the karmic consequences of suffering will come in our way, you see. So therefore, here what it means is that, use yourself, use your own the identity and it is behavior to define right and wrong, you see. So 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 you see, yeah, yeah. So very much, any for the present time, anything is going wrong, any suffering that we are experiencing, no one out there to blame, is no one out there to blame. It is the reason of self-grasping, ignorant, and self-cherishing attitude. You see, no one out there to blame. Even the slightest form of joy, slightest form of comfortness that we go through, we experience, it is a result of the expressions of compassion, love, uh, the concern of the well-being of others, and the humility from the egoic centered mind. Those are the thing to be claimed. You see, so nothing more than that. So it's something like that. So now verse 71 onward. So this is a extensive and very drastic meditative practice to destroy the self-grasping from within and dismantle the object of self-grasping, from without. You see, so the it's a drastic a practice to destroy the misconception, as well as release the chain or untie the chain of the grasping of this false I onto its basis, like such as aggregates. So when you're able to unchain the grasping in relation to its basis, like such as five aggregates, then the false eyes has no strength. There won't be any basis to claim. You see, then that way gradually it will help to lose its own false identity. You see, so then we able to actualize the real existent I, which is interdependent arising I. Mainly label I. You see, so. So in short, it is like this. What says in the verse 78 is the method or the different tools to destroy the grasping from within and dismantle the object of grasping from without. Then sever the attachment and aversion at their very sites and ensure freedom from aversion henceforth. So very much to achieve that. And also it is the from verse 71 to the last verse is very much like one complete practice of tonglen practice. This can be related to the tonglen practice that conduct from tantric yogas, like such as the che practice. Then, as I mentioned before, for this sutric practice, then it's more about using the wisdom of emptiness. In che practice, then there are on the basis of correct preparatory practices, then through through the clear guidance of the sadhana, then you really, lit, one by one, through your complete letting go of this self grasping and self cherishing, you know, mm, uh, uh, to the false identity. Then, in order to really um, bring the impact that, after the practice, that you're really able to lose trace of the grasping in relation to the basis of the false I, and including the false conception. You see, so therefore there's a, every single body parts, the every single physical aggregates, inner and outer, blood and pus, and the organs, everything, one by one, that you make charity, you make offerings, you make charities. It is more about uh, challenging that very strong hold of the grasping, to those basis of the aggregates. So when you kind of untie the knot, or you see, uh, that helps, because the body parts are, you see, one of a very strong basis, where we have a, like long time build up habitual grasping onto it. You see. So through regular practices of church, in this very drastic and very literal way, even though you are not really cutting the limbs, but in your concept, is really actually like happening, as how you visualize, that really helps to cleanse, uh, our the strong habitual grasping. So like that. So the first part is very much a preliminary. Then the middle is very much the actual practice. Then the last, conclude with the dedication, so something like that. Yeah. So it says, when afflicted by demons, possessions, or sickness, may Vajapani and his like, all such wrathful deities instantly appear. May Mahakala and his like, all fierce ones, appear as a paternal lineage. So these are very much, the actualizing the merit field, to conduct. If we relate to this very much relate to the tantric practice. So, to do the chur offering practices. But then, when we do the sutric practice, this can be interpreted into the understanding of it is assets. You see, so the object of negations are the same, like such as um, uh, the afflictions, uh, you know, internal harms, like afflictions. Then external harms, like spirits, and the internal, the obsessions from attachment, like internal possessions, or the external, spirit, possessing. Then sickness, the internal sickness, like delusions, graspings. External sickness, of course, suffering or pain, like such as cancer, etc. And may Vajrapani and its alike. So mm, uh, in order to overcome, any this form of either internal or external kind of affliction, obstacles comes in our way, then in order to bring about the effective purification, so we invoke, powerful, the object of our refuge, object of our merits, where we can relate the practice. So the Vajapani, which is the numberless Buddha's embodiment of power, you see. So here the meaning, you can the skillful means including the skillful means of loving kindness, compassion, skillful means of wisdom, of emptiness, skillful means of the four activities of the deities. You can understand that. For the sutric practice, then mainly wisdom and method. But then for the tantric practice, this meanings arise into the deity, which is the Vajrapani, and he's alike. Like it can be Manjushri, it can be Hayagiva, etc. It can be Cherezik, all the 10 generation Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. You can visualize that. All such roughful deities instantly appear. So you visualize all these deities, appear right in front of you, very vividly, in the complete, it is mandala interraj, in the actual, lively form. Then, like Dharma protectors also invite, like such as Mahakala. Mahakala in the meaning is a compassion. Mahakala is the embodiment of Cherezik. So it's the method aspect of the antidotes, loving kindness, compassion, bodhicitta. Then for the tantric practices, then you can invoke the protectors like Mahakala, or then like such as Kalarupa, such as Hayagiva, Pandalamo. You can invite them to bring the effectiveness of your purification practice, to assist you, to condition you. So all force ones appear, paternal lineage. So all this object of merit comes into your way, to whom that you have this spiritual faith, spiritual faith and the devotion and the practice, like from relating them with through initiations, relating them with doing sadhana, relating them with even just practicing their mantras, or like such as pujas. So these are the paternal lineage, that you have a lineage connection. You have a lineage blessing. So whichever deities and the Dharma protector that you have this kind of lineage blessing, then you invoke them in order for you to really bring effective practice of eradicating this harm giver of self-grasping and self-cherishing attitude, and also to overcome the obstacle to this spiritual practitioner, like such as sicknesses, such as spirit harms, etc. So then it says, verse 72, today I will pay my dues and debts. The protective fence around self is today no more. Today samsaric dark and cold wood of nirvana are separated. Oh, gather here, all flesh-eating beings. So this is making a commitment, firm commitment, or setting a very strong motivation. So, here today I will pay my debts and debt is very much that I'm going to purify, eradicate, completely all the karmic debts, such as the negative imprints, the habitual imprints of the delusions that we cultivated from beginningless lifetimes. You make commitment in front of this object of your merit, merit-filled object of your refuge. You're going to purify them. Then, so usually, like usually, we have this protective fence. As many of the Dharma practitioners, we have a protective fence. The common practitioner, we have a protective fence of refuge, like such as protection of Buddha Dharma Sangha. So then if we if we hold vows, like such as ordination vows, then we have protections, from the protection that we receive from the preceptor, together with the vows in our continuum, including it comes in the form in the ropes, like such, like all these different ropes uh, carry the meaning of different vows, and each ropes play like a protection wheel to receive harm. So you see, so even the skirt, the monks nuns skirt, shanda, the cuttings, um, mm, uh, uh, the upper and the below cuttings, very much. As long as you live within that rope, you already receive a great protection to receive harm from spirits, uh, receive harm, especially receive harm from, formless, like spirits, because of the vow, because even the ropes are blessed. Because of that, you get protected receiving harms. Then because of you always wear the ropes, then uh, you see, you are reminded with the vows, so you don't commit wrongdoings, you don't commit negative doings, and that itself, you protect yourself from committing causes, for committing causes uh, to suffer. You see. Mm, mm. Then like even the upper, like the shirts, like a tonga, even the design, like this, like an elephant trunk, you know, the design alone is like an elephant trunk. You see, the moment you wear this, you remember the death and impermanent. You see, so when someone who live in the full mindfulness of death and impermanent, then you will not commit negative karma concerning of the future consequences, and you try to live fully in the present moment with the virtue, isn't it? You see. Mm. So, so like that. Then in the middle, there's so many cuttings, so many patches. Each one represent um, the Vinaya vows. You see. So Getsul has Getsul vows, fully ordained vows. Preordained vows, like that. You see. So. Like that. So then, when you receive the Bodhisattva vows, then you have a protection, the altruistic protection. When you live with the bodhicitta, then um, uh, even the form beings, so hard to harm you. Even then, especially the formless spirits, is no way can harm you. Everyone take you as their beloved one. You see, when you live in the Bodhisattva vow purely, everyone sees you attractive, respectful. Uh, you know, so no one dare to harm you. You see, so when you take tantric vows, then you have a protections of, all the time by the Dhyani Buddhas and the Dharma protectors. You see, deities. You're always like in the circle of the deities mandala, like that. So some of us may feel then, I've been practicing tantra, I've been practicing bodhisattva, or some of you may think that I'm sangha, but I have a lot of problem. You may think that some went through spirit harm, some got into problem. You may think like that. Mm. Uh, so many of the suffering that we go through, the harm that we receive, is is due to the past karmic, past fully ripened karmic result. You see. Uh, so you're experiencing that, you see. mm, which are already ripened the full cause and condition, you see. So but with the protections of the vows, still limit the intensities of the suffering, because that itself bring the impact of certain impact of purifications. You see, so it reduces the durations of the suffering, reduce the intensity of suffering, and also one will equip more wisdom to how to interpret those suffering experiences. And like such as bodhisattva practitioner, even in that suffering, you experience the meaning. You the suffering, in fact, bring joy to you, because it brings a lot of benefit in purification, as well as developing your heart, and making you to practice, very, how to say, effective, practice of tonglen. Can you imagine if you're able to practice tonglen, how much great benefit that one receive, isn't it? Like that, you see. But one thing is for sure, that when you live in the pure vows, uh, no spirit can harm you at all. That, even just having a pure refuge vow, then we just have to delete from our heart that there's the spirit can harm us. You know, you know, the spiritual believers, non-believers. There's a belief of spirit existence, isn't it? You see. And there's an existence of spirit. And when you don't have protection, do harms. Yes. You see. So one thing, as someone who take refuge, you have a genuine refuge in Buddha Dharma Sangha, and you really live in the vow, including remembering refuge 3 times in the day, 3 times in the night. Uh, And whenever that you feel uneasy, you recall of a refuge in Buddha Dhamma Sangha, you refresh your refuge in Buddha Dhamma Sangha. No way, no way that you can get harmed by spirits. Then sometimes you hear, certain monks or nuns also like kind of thinking that they doubted that, the spirit harm. So if you are monk or nun, if you really hold the vow purely, no way spirit can harm you. We really have to delete that misconception. You see, once we have a proper ordination vow, no spirit can harm, no holy spirit can harm us. You see, then as mentioned before, when you have proper refuge, was a bodhisattva and tantric vow, no way. You see. So now here, this particular line, protective friends around self is today no more, meaning you motivated to, in order for you to expose uh, the negativities, the inner demons, the inner possessed spirit, like attachment, grasping, aversion, whatever. Then, due to the past karmic consequences, really there's a certain possession in your continuum, like the outer spirits, or if you're going through any form of sicknesses, or if there's any karmic depths that is supposed to ripen, uh, definite karmic depth is supposed to ripen, but because of the holding, the protection, that it is kind of delaying to ripen, and right here in front of this merit field, in order to really eradicate completely, then you kind of uh, what do you call? It's not kind of you give up a refuge. You kind of welcome, um, to witness, welcome all this merit field to witness, directly intrude into your continuum to witness all those negativities. You see, because when you are under the protection, um, for the Buddhas, for omniscient, of course they can understand, they can intrude to our continuum, can see, but for our own, our own conceptual idea, and in particularly here is to exposing to the ordinary beings. So the ordinary beings, whenever we have this protection wheel, they cannot see through it. You see, the protection will like kind of like protects, spirits cannot see through it. Ordinary beings cannot see through it. So therefore, you kind of motivatedly kind of open the door from these fences of the protections and let them really get you exposed completely. So this is something like that, So to so so today samsaric dark and cohood with nirvana and separate. So today, you really in front of the refuge field as well as in front of all the ordinary beings, including the spirits, that you're going to make a clear decision, you know, uh, the clear changes that you're going to take from pursuit of samsara and pursuit of nirvana. Up to now that pursue the samsara, and from now on that you're going to pursue the liberation. So meaning that your motivation, your commitments, everything going to completely change from today. Or gather here, there, or flesh-eating beings. verse 73. O gather all you who robs others of their breath, may you appear here. May you appear here as a helper to skin me alive. May you appear here as a companion to share the meat. You are my fathers and mothers. So from here onward, so very much, once you actualize the merit field, once you exposed to the even to the ordinary beings, then whatever tool or practice you want to use the tantric way, like a chair practice, you want to use the common practice of tonglen, then these are the cultivation, these are the expression that the verse by verse, you can think like that, you can express like that, in order to really making sure uh, how to say, destroy the holes of the self-grasping, self-cherishing attitude. Okay, so from here I will just read it, so no need to go through the much of explanation. So accordingly, so you relate to yourself, you relate to those negativities, then you think the similar way like that. Oh, gather all you who robs others of their breath, may you appear here and as a helpers to skin me alive. May you appear here as a companion to share the meat. You are my fathers and mothers. Divorced with the pleasure of flesh and blood of this child of yours, appear here today to accept gift for your kindness. In the past, I've cherished my own body and mind, and due to this, I still wander in the silent existence. In the past, I took for myself reward for good deeds, and I am plunged in the sickness now as a result. In the past, I caused much harm to others, and my burden today is according heavier than the mountain. With the remorse of feel for my past action, I am buried under the load and might die under its weight. In the past, I got myself grasping at all times and sought refuge merely through mouth and empty words. From here on, O powerful three jewels, do not be an ally of this self. Do not give depth to this agent of downfall. Should you, out of mercy, be it refuge, however, help me destroy the grasping from within and dismantle the object of grasping from without. Help me sever attachment and aversion at their very sight. Help me ensure freedom from aversion henceforth. I will arrange a feast for my depth and dust. All guests from the summit of silent existence to the bottom of the 18 hells, gather here all who would like to possess. My body, wealth, and reward, my breath, radiance, and dignity comes here, O class of 80,000 obstructive force, release this feast of flesh and blood that I have cherished with such care since beginning time. Devour this depth and dust and disturb me no more. Come, O 80,000 classes of guests. Come, O often major possessions of children's, the spirits. Come, O yakshas, carnivores, and elemental spirits. Come, O messengers of the male demons. Come, O demonists, the ogresses, the execute karmic fruits. Come, O demons, the spirit of dead kings and earth spirit. Come, all of you, and partake in this feast of flesh and blood. From the top, the opening of my crown, down to the tips of the nail on my toe, I shall be attached to my body no more, or all of you leisurely devour it with relish. Tear, tear the flesh, drink the blood, and chew the bone. Take away my head, my limbs, and my heart. Take away my joints, my offal, and my fluid. In brief, my brain, my skin, and so on. Whatever parts of my body, within or without. So earlier, there's anyway, okay. Whatever parts of my body, within or without, that you may wish to devour and slice into pieces, enjoy them till you are satisfied, for all shall bear no grudge. Pacify them, utterly destroy them, heaps them together and sever them from their roots, stir them and churn them, and stir and churn this very self, wrist parts and flesh and blood of this self, kill it, and wrap this self. With the incarnation of Hum Za, make this self normal. Hum Za. So this Hum Za mantra can be helpful when you feel hindrances. Then you can recite this mantra Hum Za. It has is a power of cleansing and purifying, in particularly unseen hindrances. And the cycling of this samsaric wheel cross the rapid of aggregates born of negative karma. In the past, I've cherished this body of mine with care. Help me today to destroy its very self, O mighty ones with the power to destroy evil, O fierce one, immersed in the feast of flesh and blood, O breath snatcher bound by their solemn oath, O all of you, help me destroy this self. You will then be greater than the Buddhas of the three times. If you fail to help vanquish this self, we will all be destroyed by our individual karma. So that's the fact. So today, through fear born of knowledge, the knowledge of the disadvantage of the self-grasping, self-cherishing attitude, the knowledge on the true color of how harmful it is of self-grasping, self-cherishing attitude and all the delusions. I yearn to perfect the accumulation and undo the bondage, and also the knowledge, the other way, understand the knowledge of the wisdom of emptiness, the knowledge of the bodhicitta. I yearn the perfect accumulation and undo the bondage. If through this I fail to gain liberation, or hostile force gather here. So after understanding the disadvantage and faults of self-grasping, self-cherishing attitude, and by applying the wisdom that you have, wisdom on emptiness and an attitude of bodhicitta, then even that, then you're unable to overcome this root of all the sufferings. Then hostile force and gather, through this I failed to gain the liberation, then hostile force gather here. So even with that, you fail to really to perfect the path and eliminate, overcome the negation. Then in that case, then cause me illness of wind, bile and palms, the wind, the lung problem, the bile, in Tibetan it's called lung ti pegen, to do with kidney problems. Then the plan, to do like chronic sickness, like cancer, etc. Or a combination of these three humors cause me other unbearable suffering as well, whatever undesirable even there may be, you see. So even applying, even after knowing the faults of self-grasping, self-sharing attitude, and even knowing the right antidote of bodhicitta and emptiness, still that you are unable to, overcome the domination of self-grasping, self-sharing attitude, then really, the only thing left is now to really to make, ourselves, really to wake up, um, how to say, you know, like very, very, very drastically, very, how to say, I don't know how to say. You see, it's kind of like, you try your very best with correct method, you understood the negation, but then still not behaving, then you really need to be quite, even more drastic, isn't it? So the you see, so in order to really to make, the self-grasping to really to uh, feel the the magnitude of the negative impact by self-grasping, self-challenging attitude, then even, you need to go through all these different type of sicknesses, what you describe in the verse 91, it should happen, like that, you see. Otherwise, uh, um, so you see, so it's very much here, how to say, in one of the another way of understanding is that like very much ourselves, we met the Dharma, we learn, we understand emptiness, bodhicitta, we also understand the faults of attach, the two graspings and the delusions, but then still, but then still we are unable to really, overcome the influence of delusions, influence of these graspings. Then, we are kind of asked for, to experience all these different kind of, sicknesses in life, problems in our life, unbearable sufferings. Not only now, it is almost like, we ourselves willingly kind of want to experience, glory lumps from future, like that. You can also understand like that. So for the practice of tonglen here, with these tools of the antidote, you are unable to destroy the graspings, then you really, reinforce the practice even more drastic way, uh, you know, like what's saying from the verse 91 onward. Mm. So verse 92, in this wall of appearance and experience, help direct them all upon this very self. Help bring an end to affliction and karma, the suffering and the birth of all beings. Why you um, ask for, and according to verse 91, is to fulfill what expressed in the verse 92. And you do that because of, what explained in verse 90. If you are unable to, achieve, even after such practices, you are unable to achieve the objective, then you apply the verse 91. You see, the reason for that is to achieve the verse 92, like that. May the suffering of all sentient beings definitely ripen upon me. Uh, you know, this very instant in my heart. Through this, may all beings without exception. So, in short, what explained in verse 90, 91, 92 is very much the intensity of yourself, you know, uh, um, taking the practice of tonglen, taking the practice of taking and giving into your hand, in order to make the purification more effective, like that, you see. So even in the practice of, the general Lamrim practice of, when we want to develop bodhicitta, after applying all the methods, like such as 7 cause and effect or 4, point of exchanging, uh, even with that very intense method, unable to deliver the result of achieving bodhicitta, then there's an instruction to engage in the practice of tonglen, You see, so similar ways. So Tonglen practice, taking and giving. Tonglen practice is the essence of the Mahayanic Dharma. You see, the essence practice of the bodhicitta. So here too is talking about that. So for Tonglen practice, you see, may the suffering, verse 93, may the suffering of all sentient beings definitely ripen upon me this very instant in my heart. Through this, may all beings without exception root out the cause and fruit of negative karma and attain perfect abandonment of them. And whatever virtues I may possess, I dedicate them all for sentient beings. Through this, may all beings without exception perfect their realization. When all beings have thus attained perfect abandonment and realization, their glory of loving kindness and compassion and the soul's state of dharmakaya, then through the resulting two accumulations, how can the self wander any longer in silent existence? So that much benefit will actualize it. It's like without any choice, through extensive Tonglen practice, without any choice, this self-grasping ego and self-grasping attachment, self-centered attachment will without any choice will leave your system. Verse 97, whatever the situation until my enlightenment, may I experience in the present lifetime all future cause and effect of my affliction. May the cause and effect of affliction of this life. You see, so whenever we go through suffering problem in our life, we think like all the verses were explained, in particular like here verse 97. Then you see, like as mentioned before, it is so effective to overcome our sickness, so effective to purify our karma. So whenever we go through sickness, we think like that. Whenever we go through problem, do Tonglen practice. Just simply use this particular word. Whatever the situation until my enlightenment, may I experience the present lives and all future causes effect of my affliction all ripen now. You see, may the causes and effect of affliction of this life also ripen now. You see, so come on. So verse 98, come on fruition in this very year. May this occur this very month. May this occur this very day. May this occur this very moment, and on this very sickness, on this very, mental problem, physical problem, or external situation problem, like all the past, present, future, all the negativities, all the obstacles and sufferings and negativities of others, all other sentiments, everything ripen upon right now, right here, right on this. So you see, so when we go through certain kind of sickness, when we do that, it's very much like kind of like a targeted, like a surgery to take out that nasty pus or lump or pain or whatever like that. Or it's very much like kind of injecting, the antidote, the medicine, right to the point like that. It can be so effective. Verse 99, when I today experience intense pain, such as occurred ache and injuries, with such sickness, I will take on the illness of all beings as a worldly duty and honor and purpose, thing like that. You see, thing like that is so powerful. Verse 100, the day of reckoning has now arrived. The day of reckoning has now arrived. Giving and taking have hit their marks. I am ascetic. Suddenly, all beings are now overjoyed. See, so after you do that, after what says in the verse, you see, verse verse 97, verse 98, verse 99. Then after that, you feel full of joy, and you also visualize rest of the other sentient beings are absolutely in the bliss, absolutely in the joy like that. So here you can do absorption meditation. After you do the Tonglen meditation, then try to you try to rationalize with all what you have done, then try to feel joy, in the understanding that I am able to purify karma, I am able to benefit so many beings, etc., etc. Whatever reasoning that you can afford to think, then there will be like kind of inner joy, Then try to place your mind onto that joy, that feel of joy, and try to concentrate on that, And so then that time, the stronger the concentration also help to relieve the physical pain, because your concentration will go away from the awareness of the physical pain. You see, and you can, if you are, usually trained in like shamatha practice or concentration meditation practice, and you utilize that concentration capability, to go away or stay away from the intense physical degeneration and the pain that you go through. You see, so this is how many of the good practitioners, able to do that. That's why they, even the physically they are tormented with sickness, and physically they are degenerating, but they disassociate their awareness of that physical degeneration. So we too, if we practice, we too able to do that. You see, and this is really like what it says. Aha, I'm ascetic. Really, you live in the joy, not just stay away from the feel of pain, but you completely live in the ascetic. You completely live in the fulfilling joy. So you see, so when we as a human being, when we carry this physical body, we cannot avoid pain. You see, we cannot avoid pain, especially when we grow older, and especially when we face the transition life from death. The pain is the thing that bring us to conclude, bring about the exhaustion of these physical aggregates. You see, so the pain comes when earth element, oil, fire, water, wind elements are dissolving from our energy. The weakness from the strength is that changes is the experience of pain, is the experience of suffering or pain. You see, on the basis of suffering or pervasive suffering, isn't it? You see, so so therefore, no one, very much like no one in our lifetime, can avoid the suffering or pain, throughout our life. You see, but through the practice, through the concentration practice, you can able to avoid the pain, avoid the physical pain and mental pain. You see, so therefore, daily focusing training, concentration training. I think I have mentioned in one of the class before. At least you practice with the breathing, focusing on the breathing. Daily training it. Then then you apply any other situation, try to handle situation with sense of focus in the positivity. You see, so in relation to the purification of sicknesses problem, then as a tool of the purification, as an antidote, you use the tonglen practice. Then at the end of each complete practice of tonglen, then try to create a joy within your system, your mental system, by reasoning. If you don't create the joy, if you don't reasonalize to create the joy, because physically you're already in pain, the situation is what's going on in your mind is very troublesome, and is no way that pain, no way the joy can be generated, isn't it? Because it's already pervades with so much pain. You see, so here you need to reasonalize. So the reason is you understand the power of the tonglen practice. You see, all the Mayanic scripture, especially Lojong teaching, all the Lojong different texts that we cover up to today, one of the main theme of the practice is tonglen. You see, and all the verse by verse and page by page, all the benefit of overcoming karma, delusion, achieving wisdom and attitude of altruism are all very much, the essence, the what you call the result of the powerful tonglen practice. You can summarize all the bodhicitta or the lojong practice into tonglen practice. You see, so the infinite benefit. Whenever you learn the benefit of bodhicitta, which is infinite benefits, you just refer to Bodhisattvacharya, and yeah, so just that text, you will be fully convinced how powerful the bodhicitta practice is. So the essence of bodhicitta practice is tonglen practice. So you see, so when you're able to do that, then you just have to acknowledge, how much merit you have achieved, how much purification you have achieved. When you know that, you become clean from negativities, you become pure with, altruistic virtues, the greatest virtues from this practice, you will surely feel happy, even, you are at the last moment of death, even you are in a very, suffering situation, that you at least in the midst of this suffering, that I able to achieve such a great achievement of huge merit and huge purification. So with that, you will feel good. You see, you will feel happy, isn't it? You will feel at least good. So whenever you start to feel happy, you start to feel good, try to place your concentration, your focus, your knowing onto that feeling. So and of course, your mind will be disturbed by, pain, agitations, or whatever, or if it's mental pain, there's hallucinations and delusion, and try to avoid that, try to delete that. That also can be done by reasoning. Is this delusion coming in, there's no benefit in it, I should put aside, you see. Or physical pain that is reminding you, like kind of uh, triggering you, then you try to adjust your body, or try to make it a bit comfortable, and try to again regain the focus on that blissful thinking, so then try to remain there as long as possible, you see. So as mentioned before, if we train our day-to-day life in concentration, then when we have this difficulty, then you use this technique, then this is the way that you can help yourself, to stay away from intense pain, or even possible to stay away from totally from the pain, like that. Okay. So it's a very, very important practice. You see, exactly the verse 100, remember that. The day of reckoning has now arrived, it's completely, I pay back, uh, you know, I've settled all my karma and debts. In another word, I have purified everything, there's no karma that cannot be purified by this most powerful practice of Tonglen. So I purified, you know. Uh, given the practice, the practice of giving and taking, the Tonglen have hit their marks, you see, become a direct antidote to it. So without doubt, it had purified, so clear your mind. You say, wow, I have purified completely. I'm ascetic, like full overjoyed, you see. And certainly all beings are now overjoyed, because you did this Tonglen practice, that which in concern of the well-being of the rest of the other sentient being too, not only about your past, present, future sufferings and negativities, you did for all sentient beings. Then you see the other sentient beings are also overjoyed. So you can understand that, you see. uh, those who are able to liberate, you have already liberated them. Those who need to enter into path, you have already entered them into path. Even those very beginner one, even those hell beings, you have you have conditioned them through this online practice for them to be liberated. So you have done actual bodhisattvas deeds. How wonderful. So everyone, every being, you see, every being, how to say, provided the right condition to be liberated fully. So how wonderful, how wonderful. So you can think like that. So that will bring so much joy like that. Okay, so verse 101. I have taken their suffering upon myself with the thought, today I will serve my purpose. The moment the sickness strike, I will take on all this, all that is unwanted. So in future, too, if any time when obstacle comes in your way, suffering comes in your way, you will take the meaning of life with the Tonglen practice. Verse 102. I shall then have served the purpose of being ill. You see, so that will really then, you actualize the meaning of life while you are being ill. You see, so the suffering becomes so beneficial. So I shall then have served the purpose of being burned. You see, and of suffering of thirst, hunger, and cold. And so even you happen to be born in the hell realm, hungry ghost realm, animal realm, or even in the human realm, that when you suffer a thirst, hunger, and cold, hot, whatever experience, everything become worth. You see, though my body may burn with the sickness, uh, my mind will be waxing with joy. You see, so when you practice Tonglen, when you practice bodhicitta in the Tonglen practice, then though my body may be burned by sickness, my body may be going through cancer, going through a stroke, and going through any form of sicknesses, but your mind, because of you're able to do Tonglen practice, you're able to fulfill your meaning of life. Therefore, my mind will be waxing with joy. Your joy will increase greater and greater and greater, like that. Not only the mental joy now, but even your continuum, because of the Tonglen practice, when you really go through the passing away from this life, you will pass away with full of joy. You see, full of virtue, full of joy. When you go through the intermediate state, you will go through full of joy. You see, when you take rebirth, you will take rebirth in the joyful lands, like a pure lands, or you will actualize, the best. This joy will evolve into a Dharmakaya, the clear light of the Dharmakaya, the causal stage of Dharmakaya. The causal stage of the Dharmakaya, the absolute joy mind, will result the resultant the perfected joy of the resultant Dharmakaya of Buddha, like that. Okay, so this complete. My mind will be waxing with joy. So this conclude entirely the teaching on cultivating the power of tended virtue from the mind training, the stages of the heroic mind. Okay, thank you. We complete this text. Then from the next teaching, we will go through the next text, living out all conceptions, attribute to Serlingpa. Okay, so thank you very much. Thank you very much. Much rejoice. Yeah. So now we do a quick dedication. May whatever merit that we accumulate individually, collectively, and in particularly the merit that we accumulate from this session, and all the merit of past, present, future that we accumulate, and also merit of the past, present, future Buddhas and Bodhisattvas and Gurus and sentient beings, be the complete cause for numberless sentient beings to be free from any form of suffering and its causes, karma, and delusion, and actualize from temporary happiness up to the ultimate happiness of enlightenment. May this collective merit be complete cause, this pandemic to be overcome, and not only that, all the suffering that will go through, like natural disasters, different kind of sicknesses, then the man-made sufferings, the natural sufferings, everything will be overcome. Also dedicate this collective merit to all the frontliners and the carers for the needy people, in the family, in the hospital, in the community, just in the two persons' life, when someone is sick, when someone is weak, and the other one could be your partner, could be your children, could be your parent, could be your sister, brother, could be your neighbors, could be doctors, nurse, whoever they may be, whoever sincerely, wholeheartedly, unconditionally serve and care for the needy one. Always enjoy good health, long life, be successful in their wishes and actualize all their aspirations up to enlightenment accordingly. May this collective merit be complete cause. Anyone that who is going through difficulties, financial difficulties, relationship difficulties, health difficulties, and those especially who have requested prayers from me, requested prayers from our gurus, and those of people, even they don't request, but we know that they need our prayer support, then we collectively dedicate these prayers for them to overcome from all these sufferings, difficulties, and actualize peace and virtues and happiness, after enlightenment. May this collective merit be complete cause. All the people, all the beings that who pass away, in particular in the last 49 days, whoever pass away, be free from suffering of death, suffering of intermediate state, suffering of rebirth, and actualize high rebirth in Pure Land. And within that lifetime, they actualize state of full enlightenment. May this collective merit be complete cause. All the world leaders, the leaders of the organizations, leaders of the family, and yourself who lead your life, be free from negative emotions like self-grasping ignorance, self-cherishing attitude, attachment, aversion, jealousy, ego, pride, self-centeredness, and actualize only wisdom of selfless, wisdom of emptiness, wisdom of interdependent rising, attitude of loving kindness, compassion, forgiveness, respect, kindness, generosity. Then only enjoy peace and happiness. May this quality merit be complete cause for all the good people who are cause of peace and happiness of the world, like our precious gurus, like His Holiness Dalai Lama, Kyabje Lama Sobramachi, all your other spiritual gurus, and yourself and your family members always enjoy good health, a long life, and fulfill all your aspirations up to full enlightenment accordingly. May this collective merit be complete cause. All the virtuous institutions like monasteries, nunneries, Dharma centers, wherever is a platform to practice virtue and Dharma, to be free from all the inner, outer, secret obstacles, actualize all the conditions to practice and preserve the virtues and the Dharma perfectly, extensively in learning as well as actualizing realization on the stages of the path accordingly. May this quality merit be complete cause with so much rejoice in Lama Serlingpa's merits and the wisdoms and practices, and may we too able to practice like Lama Serlingpa, like in accordance with the teaching, and in particularly the essence, the teachings on tonglen, and able to benefit ourselves, benefit the rest of the numberless sentient beings, and quickly able to overcome the samsara, actualize enlightenment, and able to be complete cause to overcome numberless sentient beings samsara and actualize them in the state of pureness, of happiness, of enlightenment accordingly. The dedicator ourselves, the merit and the purpose that we dedicate, understand everything lies in the nature of emptiness. So in the nature of emptiness, everything is possible. The purification of negativity is possible. Actualizations of cessations, including enlightenment, is possible. So therefore, just a matter of time. Whatever we pray, whatever we study, whatever we practice, nothing is wasted. Everything will be fruition accordingly in the dependent arising way. So if there's anything personally want to do dedication, please do now. So in this collective platform, if you dedicate merit, it will be more powerful than doing alone. So while I recite these dedication prayers, please do your dedications. Jawade Nudo Lama Sanje to Bune Dowaji Jamaluba de Sala Gobara Show Chanju Senjurin Bojama Japanam Chiju Jawani Bamba. Gone Gondo Beverajo, Donye Dawarin Bojama Japanam Chiju Jawani Bamba, Gone Gondo Beverage, Dawarin Bojama Japanam Chiju Jawani Bamba, Gone Gondo Beverage. Pama Zenjadam Jedenda de Yujang, Rodam Doma, the Judges of Bagana Sujo, the Taguny, Mono to Judges, and Never Chini, but you don't let Juju and Malabata to Juan Members. Jabe Baba Jidra Jambada Kundo Sambo de Andesin Jeda Kunji Juzo Dalo Jawa de Datam Jera Dunga to Chepe Jawa Tam Jedung O Kana Chudung Oba de Daji Jeve Sabade Kun Sambo Jeje Rabdung Ovarai Ji Kare Rabe Kobe Shingam de Penda de Wamali Jume de Chere Singwa Tenzi Jazui Shabe Sede Bado Tenjo Ji Topso Chanji Jango Jave de Zinjo Pepe Kunzu Doboji Chosung Kobe Lemetu Daso Deje Kondo Shabden Sho Jawa Kondo Yanda Lama da Tame Chiji Pela Lonju Sadanam Ji Yende Rabzo Doje Chanji Gomba Nyodo Jo 좀 대대 대제자 받아 좀 양다 먼저 배서 남만다 저기 잡아라 차도를 주서 봐서 보고 또 선발라 차도를 따야 다 배들이 어부든 좀 들으들어 자면 되죠大家懂别这里哦，不的那种嘟嘟嘟咱们就说，大家懂别这里哦，不的那种嘟嘟嘟咱们就说，大家懂别这里哦，不的那种嘟嘟嘟咱们就说，大家懂别这里哦，不的那种嘟嘟嘟咱们就说，大家懂别这里哦，不的那种嘟嘟嘟咱们就说，大家懂别这里哦，不的那种嘟嘟嘟咱们就说，좀 대대 저 봐라 좀 한다 봐 저배서 예 맨질라 비도 이제 봐라 저도 좀 대대 저 봐라 좀 한다 봐 저배서 니 뭐다 뭐라다 저라도 좀 이제 봐라 찾아라 맨저 제제 저라다 대대 로하면 맨데마다 다지 라산다 배도 돼 남다음에 내그 조교로지 때바지 대감도 전반다 때바니 외신도 사와 된제 볼로신도 때바 요렌네 다시 좀 배단 조함이 그 배신도 바자리 심지어를 먹고 삼바 최진도 다시 좀 니몬들레 챈들레 니면 고양들레 진짜도 돼 군조 숨지 다시쇼. Okay, thank you very much. Please take good care. Be happy. Thank you. Bye bye.